coming to our Beaches Watch event. We're happy to see you. I do want to push that our membership is probably the best deal going right now. It is $5 for students, $15 for an individual, and $20 for a family. You can't get a better deal than that in around nowadays. So please think about joining. You can always see our videos on the YouTube. You see it up there, and you can always watch the older ones. You'll see this one not tonight, but in the next couple of days. We have some elected officials. You'd think there was an election coming up. Anyway, our own Sandy Golding, who's with Jack Speech. Dan Jansen is here with Jack Speech. Corey Byland, the mayor of Neptune. Greg Sutton with Jack Speech. John Wagner, Jack Speech. Lacey Mahan, who's with Representative Michael. And Ernest Ford, who's the mayor of Atlantic. Did I miss anybody? Notice our chiefs are not running for office because they don't have to do that. Sheriffs have to do that, but chiefs don't. Right, guys? Good for you. I do want to remind you that we have some budget workshops coming up. Atlantic Beach Commission Chambers on Monday, July 20th, and Wednesday, August 19th. And then Jack's Beach has 3 of them, August 3rd, August 4th, and August 10th. And for those of you who are interested in where your money goes, how it's spent, these are very important. You don't go to these things and you don't find out, no fair sitting around the kitchen table and complaining. Either show up or shut up, is that good? See how old you are, you can get by with just about anything now. Anyway, Neptune Beach is having a workshop on Monday, July 20th. We have, you know, our old newspaper's gone, Shorelines is gone, all those things are gone, but we have a new one, the Beach Gazette, and it is at www.beachgazette.org. And so, is anybody here from the Gazette? Oh, okay, Ellen. Yeah. It's free online. We are going to have on August the 6th at the Community Presbyterian Church Fellowship Hall, District 2 School Board Candidate Forum. All 3 of our school board candidates have accepted and will be there. And I'm going to put in a little plug. I talked to you about how cheap it was to be a member. We have to pay to go these places. It used to be you could go to a school. Schools don't want anything to do with elections anymore because they get rowdy or whatever. So we have to find places, and we often have to pay. We have to have insurance because you all might get too rowdy, those kind of things. So that's where your money goes when you bring it to us. We need questions for the school board things. So you see up there, info@beacheswatch.com. So all that's good information. Now, we have our 3 from Atlantic Beach. We have Vic Gualillo. I think I'd be able to pronounce it, Vic, after all these years. Jacksonville Beach Police Chief Gene Paul Smith, who I think is going to retire soon. Are you coming to Fleet Landing? We'll save your spot. We'll save your spot, Gene. And and Michael Key from Neptune Beach. So I'm going to turn this over to Tanya. You want to come up and run the show? Well, it's okay.
It's up to you, Chief.
How much you guys want? What yet?
We're charging for a longer
My AV person's leaving. So, good evening. I don't want to give so much feedback. So, really wise chief of police told me when I became chief that you don't have to run for re-election, but every 2 weeks on Mondays you have to re-interview for your position. So, I'm not sure if he's in the room or not, but he's got a point. So, thank you for taking this time to talk to you guys. The PowerPoint I've got is pretty data-based. It's not super interesting as far as being real sexy, but I'm going to try and give you a little overview of what our agency's done in the last year. There we go. So successes for our community. The best thing I can say is we've had a decrease in our crime trend. I think that is, we're seeing that nationwide, but I also think that it's in part by the good work of our officers. Pretty much everything we see is going in the right direction. Property crimes going in the right direction, violent crimes. We did see sort of an increase in drug activity or drug-related arrests and DUI arrests. But I'll tell you that's because my officers are really proactive. We've got some great officers out there making a lot of drug arrests, a lot of DUI arrests. Some people may say, look, you're reporting crime, you're pumping the numbers up. Well, if there wasn't something out there for them to do, they wouldn't be doing their job. So they're going out and finding people who are doing bad things and they're stopping those crimes before they ever impact any of you citizens. That's the way I look at it. I tell those guys, go out and be nosy. That's what we pay you to do. Go find the crime report, find some victims. Some of the metrics we use, calls for service about 30,427 for last year. Our crashes did go, I think, down a little bit. Parking citations, warnings, arrests, 507 arrests last year, cases cleared. Our fibers, NIBRS numbers, those are the new Florida numbers. You go on the Florida website and look for fibers and look at the crime rates for your city, your county, and you will see how you stack up against other cities and counties in your area or the same size. That fibers, NIBRS data is really good for you guys to know out there. And our clearance rate was about 64%. I think we're pretty close to everybody else in the region here at 64%. So our performance stats, I'll say for the last several years, are going in the right direction again. Postal service went up, but all those things in green are improvements for us. About a 2-minute, 36-second response time for emergency calls, which is, I think, a good number for us. See, drug arrests, 73, DUI arrests, 119, 9,842 traffic stops. That's not just telling you guys to write a lot of tickets. For officers to go out and do their job, you have to go out and find the criminals, right? Criminals have to get from point A to point B to get to their crime. So for us to be able to do plenty of traffic stops and stop and talk to people, and find out if they have a valid driver's license, if they have an active warrant for some other reason, maybe be suspicious of this person, those traffic stops are a really good vehicle for us to do that. It gives us the opportunity to talk to people and find out if they're just have forgotten to obey the traffic laws, and maybe they're out there doing something they really shouldn't. I'll say that today in our city, we made a drug arrest with several $1,000s of seizure money, and our guys stopped that vehicle based on a traffic violation. They ran from us. They tried to flee, flipped his car, single car accident, foot pursuit. We went out catching them about 4 or 5 blocks later. But all that came from a simple traffic infraction. So we found out where he was delivering his drugs, he had a lot of money on him, and that's going to lead to a lot of other good things for us. So those are just an example that traffic stops aren't just about writing you guys tickets, it's about you to talk to the person in that car and find out what they're doing in our city. So our RA department has 33 sworn positions. 2012 was the last time we were fully staffed. In 2023, we had to ask Jack's Beach for some help. We had 9 vacancies at that point. That's a 37% reduction in manpower. That's over a third of our patrol division was out. So we had to lean on Jack's Beach and Neptune Beach to help us out, just to cover calls for service, just to make sure we had minimal staffing available. But I'll tell you, in the last, since 2025, we've been fully staffed. And that is, thank goodness, yes, applause. Get fully staffed to fill those 9 vacancies. It's because of the time it takes us to recruit, to train, and to get them released on the road and through probation. And that is due in large part to the fact that The city stepped up. They helped us reach close to parity in salaries with the agencies around us and made us competitive. And I'll tell you, the younger officers who come in now, they're asking us, hey, what about your pension? What's the pay look like? What's the multiplier? They're asking those questions more than just, hey, how much do I make? And can I go to work tomorrow? I mean, a badge and my gun, I can work. They're asking questions and looking to be competitive. They want work-life balance, they're looking for benefits. So thankfully our city stepped up and allowed us to be competitive, and that's how we did it over the course of time with police staff. Hopefully we can continue that and go forward. In the next few years, we're looking at 3 months, I'll have 1 lieutenant who's going to retire. In about 2 years, or less than 2 years, I'll have 1 to 2 sergeants retiring. And in 1 to 2 years, I'll have a commander retiring. And with any luck at all, within 4 years, I'll be retiring. So there's going to be a lot of turnover at the top end for our agency. We need good officers to fill those positions, but I really want to hire from within. I want that succession plan to bring those officers up to the ranks, train them up, make sure they understand the culture of our agency and why it's important to do the things the way we have taught them to do. So I'm going to continue to try to recruit good officers and keep us full staff. Large events for us, dancing in the streets is one of the big ones. I'm sure pretty much everybody here is going dancing in the streets, right? So that picture you see right there is about 1/10 of the crowd for dancing in the streets. We've got estimates, like about 6,000 to 8,000 at least over the course of the day that's filtered through dancing in the streets. It takes all 3 agencies, plus Jacksonville Beach, plus our public works departments to manage that event. Turkey trot for both of our agencies, about 5,000 people. Of course, those people kind of transition over to Pete's afterwards. There's another several thousand in the street after dancing after the turkey trot. They go to Pete's Giving. Donna Marathon is a big one for us. Again, Atlantic Beach, Neptune Beach, Jacks Beach, GSO, we all have to get together to make those things work. Our Easter egg hunt brings in about 1,000 people annually. Christmas tree lighting is several hundred. Again, that takes Neptune Beach and Atlantic Beach to make that event happen. And our music fest brings in about 2,000 plus people every year. We're moving that over to Russell Park this year to get some bigger venue for that. It's an alcohol event, so anytime we have the alcohol events, we put on a few extra officers just to make sure everybody is doing the right thing. We usually have a great event. Upcoming needs and challenges. So I think everybody here understands what we're looking at for the next year as far as property tax amendment that's potentially coming our way. That's going to be our biggest challenge. No states in the U.S. so far have managed to eliminate property taxes 100%. So Florida's going to be on the cutting edge or leading edge of that. I'm not sure which one as we move forward. That's the salary comparison. If you want to look at that again, that's what we're looking at for 2027. We have not settled on our contract yet, union-wise. I'll say this out loud, we're on the bottom again. Starting pay. Our top end pay, when we structured this, we're very competitive at the top end. But starting pay, we're still sort of down the bottom, which is going to be, again, a challenge for us as a good officer, but we're going to do our best to make sure we get good officers in to work for us. Vehicles, we were able to reduce our vehicle price from $75,000 last year to $70,000 this year. We drive them for about 9 or 10 years. So I know we talk about how much vehicles cost and why the cops always get new vehicles. Well, when we issue an officer a car, he's going to have that car for about 9 to 10 years. He's not going to see a new one for quite a while. That's 110 to 135,000 miles. That is over the industry standard for Florida. So Florida's industry standard is about 80,000 miles. We drive a little longer to try and get some more use out of them, but that takes about 9 to 10 years to do typically. Radios for next year for us are going to cost us $91,000 a year on an 8-year contract. Sounds like a lot of money, but we had a 5-year contract previously and we had 0 price increases. So that's just what the industry does to us now. They sell service over time, over contracts. So they sell service in a subscription form, and that's pretty much what we're going to. And tasers cost us about $42,000 a year in a 5-year contract. I know I got some weird looks when I talked to my administration about that, but my question is, what are you going to do not have tasers? If you don't have a less lethal option in today's society, we have to go put our hands on somebody and put them in jail and have a way to do something besides draw a gun and try and get their attention, we're probably going to get sued. So it's a big price tag, it's a big ticket item, but I don't see how we can do that. And I think the tape is probably a monopoly. I can say that out loud. There's no other game in town. There's nobody else who creates, who makes that piece of equipment, that less lethal piece of equipment that's conducting an energy weapon other than taser. Special programs. So I think the biggest one for us is going to be revamp. We are partnering with Jacksonville on this one. It's a registry for engaging in vulnerable and missing persons. That QR code, if you want to scan it, if you know anybody who has a endangered, vulnerable person who may be advanced age or who may be has a mental illness, who may be autistic, you can register them with Jack's EPD, and that information then, should they happen to go missing, will be available to law enforcement and the fire department. So it may help us in our search to find them. So if you want to scan that and let anybody know who has any family members or friends who might want to register for that, to go to that Jack's EPD website and look at a revamp program. Or also train in silver alert, purple alerts, inspection, autism inspection training. And all of our CAD dispatch equipment is connected into Jacksonville's too. So as they enter that information about endangered and vulnerable populations, we will see that same information. So we can share that back and forth between the county and our agency to help us locate anybody on that list. Citizen support. So if you want to help support us, the best thing you can do is educate yourself on Amendment 3 before it comes up for vote. That's going to be huge for all of us, especially in smaller municipalities. If you want to learn more about the Atlantic Beach Police Department, we've got a Citizens Police Academy that's going to start next month. Please go by and check us on our website to register for that. We'd love to see you come by and spend 6 weeks with us at our Citizens Police Academy, or anybody else that you know of that want to learn more about the police department from the other side of the badge, and spend some time with us. All right, that's it.
Okay, I'm going to do the introductions for Jacksonville Beach Police Department. Our chief is going to be retiring in the near future, so he has chosen tonight to go a different path and have the 3 commanders speak with y'all. So I'm going to introduce our patrol commander, Eric Shaughnessy. Then there's going to be our services commander, Thomas Bingham, and then our detective commander is Thomas Crumley. So if y'all want to step up and have your chance to speak, and then the chief's going to answer questions afterwards. Yeah. The slides will be rotating. I'm so sorry. The slides will be rotating as they're speaking, and that information is available at the end. You can ask any questions you want of me or any of us here.
Good evening. My name is Eric Johnson. Like Secretary said, I'm the Patrol Division Commander for the Jacksonville Beach Police Department.
Can't hear you.
How about that? How about now? Good. All right. Tonight I'm going to be speaking on the topic of e-bikes and e-motorcycles and what those are and the challenges those present and how Jacksonville Beach is dealing with that. So I think we'd all agree in the room that is pretty much the hottest topic right now, especially at the beaches, is e-bikes and e-motorcycles. Popular, dangerous, and we have a lot of inexperienced riders out there on them, and that's what makes them so vulnerable right now. We've had similar issues in the past. We've dealt with these problems in the past. Probably nothing as prevalent or as popular as e-bikes, but 30 years ago we had this problem with mopeds. Mopeds and dirt bikes versus what a motorcycle is, what the 4-6 statute defines that is. 15 years ago we had this problem with golf carts and low-speed vehicles, and now we find ourselves post-COVID with bikes and motorcycles. It's important to remember that not every bike, not every electric bike you see out on the road is illegal. Now, the vast majority are, but it's important to remember that they're not all. They've been around now for about 5 or 6 years. They're very popular with campers and private communities and things like that. But again, post-COVID, with kids out and the way they're marketing these things and the way they look, they were just taken off. So what's the difference between a legal bike and an illegal bike? Florida State statute says there are 3 classes of e-bicycles out. There's a class 1, class 2, class 3. And I'll break it down very simply is those first 3 classes have pedals. They have pedals or pedal assist, right? And they are speed, they go 28 miles an hour or under. And they have a maximum battery output, so 750 watts or lower. So that's what makes it an e-bike. So when we're out doing our job, we have to stop and investigate each bike, to tell what's what. What makes it illegal is that battery output is 750 higher, and it goes faster than 28 miles per hour, and it has pegs, right? So it's no marketing gimmick that it doesn't. It looks like a motorcycle. It looks like an off-road bike. And like I said, no way really identifies to get them stopped and kind of see what you're dealing with. But what you're seeing and what we're seeing is the vast majority is illegal bikes. And once it jumps over to the e-motorcycle category, the state of Florida looks at that as a motor vehicle, right? And to make it illegal to drive that motor vehicle, if it was a motorcycle, you would have to have a driver's license, so you'd have to be of age, you need an endorsement, you need insurance or a helmet, and things like that. And that's how we're seeing it. So about 99.9% of them are illegal out there. There are a few. So what makes it legal or not legal is the absence of a VIN number, right? Vehicle identification number, like your car or like a motorcycle. Because they don't meet federal safety standards and things like that, they're not issued VIN numbers. Therefore, if they're not issued a VIN number through the government, then you can't put a tag and they can't be registered. If they don't have a tag and can't be registered, they're illegal to be on the street. Period. Full stop. They're illegal to be on the street. Right? We'll talk about some of the enforcement action on that. So how can you sell them or why do they sell them? So if you do a quick Google search, they're basically marketed for closed courses or private property type scenarios. That's how they get around that. They don't care that the vast majority of them are out on the road. So that's how they're marketed. And again, I keep saying that, I keep marketing back to that. When they first came out, they looked like beach cruisers, and now they all look like a motorcycle. And that's what the kids want. That's what you're seeing, like I said, and that's why you're also seeing the bad behavior. Right, we talked about team takeovers and the bad behavior and that crowd mentality, and that's what you're seeing on these bikes. You get 10 or 15 or 20 of them, and people try to correct them, they get choice words or their finger, or when law enforcement does step in, they all flee in different directions. But some of these bikes can hit 55 miles an hour, and we just can't do that. What are we doing here at Jacksonville Beach Police Department? So you're going to see here in the next few days, you're going to see a heavier, what we've done and what we've done in the past. We started this about a year ago, but what we've been doing now is we've come up with a social media strategy campaign. So you're going to see that on the police department page and the city page. And we have asked our officers to go out and kind of take a case-by-case, layered approach between education and enforcement. Of course, we stop some 17-year-olds in the middle of the night out running around. We're going to handle that differently than a 12-year-old down at South Beach Park at the skate park. So we're looking for equal parts. Again, we're looking for equal parts education and enforcement. So we are looking to make those stops, identify these kids, give them warnings. We have pamphlets that we're handing out. And the biggest part for us is documentation and getting the parent and the guardian involved. Because if we can prove that we've talked to the parent and the guardian, we warned them, this is a legal bicycle, that's why, we the pamphlet, we've documented all that. It'll help us on the next stop for enforcement action, which can go all the way up to criminal citations, right? Because again, this bike is considered a motor vehicle in the state of Florida. I don't think too many people have pushed that far. We might be one of the first to make a case on that, but that's how far it can go. Right? So that's the kind of the layered approach we go with. We're going to do good documentation. We're going to do good contacts. We're going to do good education. We don't want to be out handcuffing 12-year-olds at the skate park or anything like that. Right? But we do have problems again, like I said, with the flee when they take off. That kind of forces our hand. And not to mention the civil liability. The bike goes over 100 pounds and go 55+ miles per hour. So that's kind of what we're at. That's our approach. And, you should see it here in the day, like I said, on social media. See us out. Thank you.
We have 8 minutes left.
8 minutes total for both of us?
Or take left 3 minutes after take the
Awesome, thank you. Tom Bank with Jacksonville Beach Police Department. We're going to talk about community engagement. Everybody's heard of community policing, community-oriented policing, really came hot about the 80s or 90s, but where did that come from? Here's a little bit of a history lesson, very short, very sweet. The professional organized police agencies that we have now all go back to the original thought by a guy by the name of Sir Robert Peel. 1829 in London, he created the first internationally, the first organized professional police force in the world. It was a foreign concept up to that point. It was either military and law enforcement, it was part-time and very unregimented. So he came up with this concept, passed legislation, got it started, he came up with 9 simple principles. One of those principles is what I want to talk about tonight. He said very clearly, very succinctly, the police are the public, and the public are the police. Modern day community police community partnerships working together. Very successful. 20 years later, in the 1840s, 1850s, here in the States, Boston, New York City, they actually tried to mirror a professional organized police department and agency, but they forgot the simple 9 points that Sir Robert Peel came up with. And they lost it almost forever. It took about 140 years in America to get back to, in the 80s and 90s, the topic of working with the community, partnering with the community, reaching out, have them reaching out to us, being able to communicate back and forth. The history lesson was, I love history, but what I want to focus on is we hear a lot of topics nowadays in the last 4, 5, 6 years. Reimagine, reform, rethinking or reshaping. If we follow the community policing paradigm of just working with the community and listening to y'all, and y'all being involved with what we're doing and knowing what's going on, and having that open communication and comprehension, it makes our job so much easier, and it gives you the level of support and the professional agency that you demand, rightly so, and that you expect. Florida is always, on average, at a very high approval rating with sheriff's departments and police agencies with their community. The 3 beaches here, we take that to the next level. We want you to be involved, we want you to be informed, we try to get as much information out as we can. Where we fall under community engagement, Sergeant Taylor is head of our community engagement unit that was started within the last couple of years, but it just combined a lot of stuff that we're already doing. A highlight of that community engagement is our Citizen Police Academy. Often imitated, never duplicated. 51 classes now, over 1,400 people. Yes, sorry. Over 1,400 people have come through, not just to listen to us and to see how we do things and try to understand how we do things, but for us to get to know them as well and start that dialogue. A robust volunteer program that's been going on for 20 years. These people just give 1,000 hours a year or more, 10,000 hours a year to come in and help with us. Part of the community engagement unit is Sergeant Taylor or one of her designees will go out and talk to neighborhoods. They will go out and talk to businesses. They will do site surveys, security surveys. They will try to interact as much as they can with different groups, fraud, scam prevention, etc. So as long as we can keep that communication up and have those partnerships, we don't have to succumb to what is going on now in other parts of the country with reforming, reimagining. We do it on a daily basis, and we make improvements as we go. So please, if you ever want to stop by the police department for a tour, Chief Smith said he'll buy you lunch. You can sit down in his office. He'll talk to you for like 3 hours, so come prepared. So thank you. Reach out if you ever need anything.
Good or
6 minutes.
6 minutes?
Next 3 minutes.
Good evening, everybody. Can everybody hear me? If I'm a walker and a talker, so and plus I want y'all to be able to see me. If I'm hiding behind you, you can see me, great. I'm here. My name is Simon Crumley. I'm the Detective Division Commander here at the Jacksonville Beach Police Department. And one of the things I want to talk to y'all tonight about is pop-up events, or more affectionately known as teen takeovers. Right? Has everybody heard of the teen takeovers this year, last year, mostly this year, right? All right. So one of the things that we faced this year was the team takeover phenomenon wasn't new, right? It's been happening, it's been kind of spreading all throughout the country, but it really has started to affect us here locally in the last year. So we've been working on our techniques, trying to figure out what works best for us, how do we do things, and one of the biggest improvements that we made this year over years past was we increased our intelligence gathering from one person being responsible for intelligence gathering to a multi-layered team approach, where we have multiple methods kind of creating a nice overlap of gathering our information, making sure we hit all of the different social media aspects, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I mean, there's so many of them, and let's face it, I can't keep up with all of them, right? And I'm going home asking my daughters, like, all right, what should I look for? And are the guys telling me absolutely true, like this happens this way? And they're like, oh yeah. And just give me your phone, Dad. You know? So, but it's funny, we've had to create, because of the things that are happening, and the majority of the events we see are young people driven, right? Anywhere from the teens, the 15, 16-year-old promoters, up to the 20-somethings, right? The sad thing is, a lot of these people do have the best of intentions. They've got good intentions. They want to be their own, they want to be a promoter one day, right? So they're young entrepreneurs, but instead of getting that paper route or collecting bottles like we did whenever we were kids, they're organizing social media events and doing different things. They're not cutting grass. They're not doing all those other things. They're creating social media accounts and trying to get followers and trying to do it that way. But that's what they know, right? And that's a lot easier to get down and cut the grass, taking the lawnmower around, trying to, cut lawns. So it is the new entrepreneurial thing for young people to do. So with that, you've got to start to identify good groups of kids from bad groups of kids, right? The bad always follows the good because they want to see and be seen, right? That's what we all go out for social things, right? You want to have a good time, be entertained, and you want to see and be seen. So that's been our biggest problem, is trying to figure out how to keep those groups away from each other during events and how to prevent a lot of these things from happening. Doing good on time? I have 3 minutes.
You have
1 minute left?
left.
All right, 1.5 minutes. All right. So the big thing for us, we tried to make sure that we had every single event that we identified, and sometimes we would only be able to identify an event because as we've gotten smarter, they've gotten smarter, right? So now you're seeing 32 to 24 hours advance notice of these events. So a lot of it has to do with scheduling, and we take the public trust very seriously as far as trying to utilize what you've given us to do our job to the maximum capabilities that we can, right? So once we get those notifications, we change schedules, we do things, we make sure that we address those problems so that you guys as a community feel safe and sound when you come to visit our village. So I'd love to talk for a long time, but I'm a little bit of a talker, so. But thank you all very much. We appreciate the fact that you guys are involved in the community and that you're here to make us better. And believe it or not, you guys, as a group, y'all also provide intel to us as far as, I see some faces here in the room that say, hey, did you get this? Did you guys know that this event's happening? So keep that coming, because as the chiefs have said already, and everybody said already, Tom, Eric, it's a community thing. And we can't do it by ourselves. We need everybody's help. So thank you all very much. And y'all have a good night.
everything's fine. So they definitely saved the best for last, and that's why they put me here. I'm humble and I'm ready to go. So I'm actually going to be pretty quick in my presentation because I actually want to do something unscripted as well. That Jack's Beach is not going to be the only one getting to surprise people here. So I'll rip through mine real quick, but it's an honor always to be here. I always love these events. Every year when they come up, we all look forward to them. And with that, I'll get through mine real quick. So there is our beautiful council. Not much has changed there other than 2 seats are vacating. The Honorable Livingston and Messenger are leaving, and we have two new council members coming through. There's our beautiful command staff. I love this picture because I like it because of me. No, I like it because of those 2 gentlemen on my both sides. They are one of the most important things that I have on my left and my right side. It's one of the most cherished photos I have because I heavily rely on my command staff to run the department. Real quick, each year I really love to talk about the people because the people are what's really important about this police department and about any police department. It's not about the police chief certainly, and it's about the people. So starting from left to right, I'll move forward real quick. We just swore in a police chaplain. I'm a Christian, I believe in Jesus, and I have always believed that there is a holistic approach to taking care of employees. We care about their mental health. We want to make sure that they don't commit suicide. We want to make sure that they have mental health resources. So we offer all these things to them, suicide hotlines and peer support groups and EAP, things like that, right? So we kind of have that checked. We've started a physical fitness program where we invested about $50,000 of grant funding from the feds into a gym, and we got all the high-end, great physical equipment where everybody can work out. I did a policy recently where guys can work out on duty if calls permit. So we got that checked, right? Now we're getting both emotional support as well as our physical strength and that aspect of it. But what have we done for spiritual health? And this is one thing that I'm extremely proud of, that we were able to trick Pastor Loman into becoming our chaplain. He's an amazing beaches resource, and he actually has a little bit of a criminal justice background. He majored in it, and he had some other experiences. So he's a great asset, and he's very welcome to our team. Moving in the center is Marcia Brown. She's recently promoted to our Services Division Supervisor over the Records Unit. That's a big role for our police department because records, property room, and public records requests all fall on 2 people. And you can really hinder a police department with a massive amount of requests, especially when 2 people are doing it. We have some contingency plans for others to help, but ultimately, she's been a huge asset, and I can't be prouder to have her with us. And then lastly, I don't see Chris Hoffman. We stole Elaine Dean from Chris Hoffman, and we gladly loved having Elaine. She just recently retired and went to Tennessee, so we wish her farewell. All right, there's our organization charts. Just wanted to throw that up there because I get questions sometimes. We're 22 full-time sworn. We have 9 full-time civilian staff. That includes animal control, things like that. We have 27 part-time. Atlantic and Neptune each have ocean rescue under their purview. So 24-ish of those are ocean rescue folks, which are great, and 6 volunteers, to include the chaplain, as I just pointed out, making a total membership, not paid, a total membership of 64. Real quick on special events, I just wanted to hit this real quick. Some of the stuff's already been discussed, like Donna by Chief Gualillo. We were recently reaccredited. All 3 of your beaches are accredited police departments, and really what that means is just the same thing as accreditation with college. You would not want to go to a non-accredited college. You do not want to be policed by a non-accredited police department. I'll tell a quick side story. I was in North Georgia and I got pulled over by a police officer. What did I do? What did I do? And I was racing through my head, and he said something about how he ran my tag and it came back and it expired, and I'm like, well, it's not. And I quickly learned something while interacting with this North Georgia Police Department. It is not the same as your 3 beaches police departments. We should be extremely thankful for the professionalism that the 3 beaches, or at least Florida police departments, as previously already said, bring to the table. What you get in professionalism is starkly different in the beaches, and we all should be extremely thankful. I am. I live the beach. I'm extremely thankful for all of the beaches, police departments, how professional they are, and not stopping someone for maybe no reason.
For your nice day.
Yeah, it was nice. One of our initiatives I'm really happy to share with you is we're kind of always thinking, and all the beaches do this, and that's the really greatest part about the 3 beach police departments is we're all sitting thinking, what can we do to make ourselves better? And one of the things that came up during last season, hurricane season, was what happens when trees start falling down all over the roads and roads become blocked. And it's always kind of been this, oh, we'll make sure we wait for the cut and toss teams from Jacksonville to come. They'll come, they'll clear our roads. And we all know that's not the case. We all know that our public works departments, sometimes more often than not, our police departments are out there hooking tow straps up to vehicles and pulling trees out of roadways to get our arteries, our major arteries open. So one of the things that we just did this year was we established a cut and toss team. It sounds really fancy, but it really isn't. It's just giving some chainsaws to policemen and teaching them how to use them. Caveat is you have to teach them how to use them. That's kind of important. And you got to make sure you obviously get the safety gear and everything else. So you can see there at the bottom left, we trained 6 of our guys. We brought in JFRD, Jacksonville Fire Rescue, to help train and how to safely and effectively cut a tree and operate these chainsaws. And then ultimately got them through a 24-hour course that they efficiently and effectively know how to help our public works department after a storm. Hopefully not happens. But if it does, we're prepared to help open some of these major arteries to help, more help to get in. Real quick, I didn't want to spend a ton of time on stats. Nobody likes stats. And I can't even see that with the little red circles, but I'll just read you real quick. Similarly to what Jacksonville Beach and Atlanta Beach shared with their calls of service, we average around 21,000 calls for service a year. That's a lot. It's a lot for 2.5 square miles. I heard this morning there's 32 miles of roads in Neptune Beach. That kind of surprised me, but regardless, it's still relatively a small box, and 21,000 calls for service is a pretty significant amount of numbers. And the reason I wanted to talk on that real quick is that's the density that occurs at the beach. And when you start talking about budgets and you start talking about what police departments cost, etc., you have to start looking at the density of your population, not just your residents, but how many people obviously come out here. We all live here, we all drive these streets, we all know how difficult it is and how many people come out here. If you picked up Neptune Beach and put it in Baker County, you could do it with half the budget and maybe a third of the people. But it's not that way, and we all know that our seasonal influxes change, which obviously drive the amount of calls for service we have. Going down to arrest, that's this one right here, I know it's really hard. Each year, last year I highlighted that our arrests were up, and as you can see, you can't, so I'll explain. The orange is 2022, 2023, sorry, the yellow is 2024, and the green is 2025. So each year our arrests continue to go up, and that's not by design. We're not telling, hey officers, we have a crime problem, and the way we're going to solve this is we're going to go out and arrest every single person. That's not the case. What is the case is the amount of people that continue to come to our beaches continues to grow, so the amount that we have to deal with crime and arresting people continues to grow. And I'll hit up a second on the pie chart when I get to it on that topic. I want to talk real quick on this green table here. Again, it's kind of hard to see, but I have circled our thefts. Our theft is a really good metric. I said this last year, I always stand by this. Your thefts in your community are a good metric of your community health, of what's going on. Because, again, if you're a resident, do you want to have to worry about your garage door being left open and stuff being stolen out of your garage? Those kind of things are quality of life issues, and theft can dramatically increase or reduce the quality of life as a resident. I'm happy to share that our crime for thefts continue about to be the same, but on average, our property crimes have gone down. And then this bottom one is kind of fun. I would have never done this except for, we had a councilman who asked about, hey, tell me, where are we arresting these people from? And when I heard that, I was like, that seems like a really tricky area to get into, to like start talking about where the people we're arresting live. But then as I thought more about it, he had a great point. And what you can see here, kind of, is the blue shaded area, and that's about 65% of the people we arrest come from Jacksonville. The other pie charts are, there's a sliver for Jacksonville Beach, there's a sliver for Atlantic Beach. That kind of lighter shade is all other areas than the three beaches in Jacksonville. So it's, you came from Boca Raton, you got arrested here, we're going to put you in that pie chart of it. But again, just to give you an idea, there's only 7%, if I'm reading that correctly, that's this orange one that we arrest from Neptune Beach. So it's a very low count of beaches residents we're arresting because, unfortunately, a lot of people from Jacksonville do come to the beach and act the fool, and we end up having to arrest them. Real quick on July 4th, I don't want to spend a ton of time on this. This is our big event. This is our big thing. It's always been our big thing for some reason. And about 10 years ago, we really got a hold of it. And we got a hold of it by shutting the road down. That's ultimately what we did. We tried to say, from a police posture, again, history lesson, hey, we're going to try to manage this by enforcement and everything else. And what we decided 10 years ago, let's lean into it. Let's close the road. And let's start making it a safe environment because you're not going to change the human behavior of the person who wants to come to Neptune Beach to block it. So, real quick, we had a ton of police officers, we had a ton of help from JFRD with vehicle mitigation barriers, etc. We averaged around 132 calls in that one. So you have a 22-man police department that averaged 132 calls for service. That's a dispatcher answering on the phone 132 times, saying, what do you need? Yes, where's your emergency, etc. Of those, I think there was 16 were high priority calls. That's like active, get here quick, we need the police immediately. 16 in a small box. It was a very busy day for us. Neptune Beach Ocean Rescue, you can see some stats there. They were very busy out there on the beach. And the one that I'm extremely proud of, those two gentlemen that were standing on the left and the right of me at the beginning of the slideshow, is we ended that day and we concluded without any major incidents. And that's not an accident, that's not just by happenstance, that's by extremely hard work, but also a lot of work in planning and preparation to put it together. That's all I have for right now, but I actually have one other. So, how much time do I have? A couple minutes?
2 minutes.
2 minutes, all right, 2 minutes. So, I took a couple notes. We're a part of ICE. Just going to put that out there. Our officers are 287G credentialed. That means they're dual certified, and we arrest folks. And if they have an outstanding ICE warrant, we apply that warrant. And there's a nuance there, right? We're not going out and actively looking for illegal aliens, but if we find an illegal alien during the commission of a crime and they have an ICE warrant, we arrest them for that additionally. We just submitted the paperwork, just signed it yesterday. We're getting $175,000 from the feds for participating in that program. So when you want to talk about real life, specifically what it looks like for us, we're not doing it for the money, but that's a decent amount of money that the feds are giving these police departments to participate in the ICE program. E-bikes, I think they did a great job. We've remained committed to our enforcement education. I have not made any mistakes about how I feel about those. I feel very strongly about them. I enforce them very strongly. We actually did issue a citation, criminal citation to a mom who continued to let her son drive dangerously and who ultimately crashed and injured someone. We have a young department, and all the beaches are lucky because we all get to fine-tune pick our officers. And then lastly, my little surprise is my dear, dear friend, Gene Paul Smith. Gene Paul has been like a big brother to me. He and I served, all three of us served on the beach SWAT team together. I call Gene Paul Smith more than I probably should. Asking for advice, what do you think, bouncing things off of him. And I wanted to just say a couple things. Despite Gene Paul Smith's retirement supposed to be secret, it ain't very secret. He tells me, Mike, I think I'm going to retire in January, but don't tell anybody. And it's like the biggest secret that everybody knows about. So real quick, I pulled some highlights. And we're going to do a lot of this before January, but if the floor will yield me some time. In 1994, by the way, I was 12, Gene Paul Smith's working, and as a young training officer, tracks down and personally arrests a convicted serial killer, Gary Bowles. He's been a part of numerous high-profile homicide resolutions that he cleared, that he got case results because someone got murdered, and he found and helped organize the prosecution of that individual. He's got 24 years on the SWAT team. He was absolutely one of the individuals that I look to every time during either a high-risk search warrant or training as a mentor and as someone I followed and truly looked up to. He created numerous units. He's a plaque holder for the Special Investigations Unit, numerous disaster and large-scale event managements, and maybe best, hopefully, remembered for not only his modernization of the Jackson Beach Police Department, but his continued relationship ability to glue every one of us together and keep us bound to complete the mission of service of our beach's residents. So for that, I am eternally grateful for your friendship, and I am severely, severely miss you. So.
Thank you all. That was very good. And I want to say, I think this 4th of July was probably the worst time because we had the Friday holiday, federal holiday, and then the 4th of July and Sunday. So it's like the largest, biggest one. I know when it comes on Wednesday, it's not nearly as bad as when they have 3 days. So to have no major incidents, I think was really a credit to y'all, because I know you've worked hard to get to that point. So I'd like to see if you all would like to ask questions of anybody. So please raise your hand, and Ellen will bring you the mic.
I think the chief in Neptune Beach mentioned the contract with us. I have been a poll worker many years when I was a lot younger. And I worry, since our president has said that he would send ICE agents out to make sure the polling places were safe, whatever. If someone or those people are going to be harassing or trying to intimidate voters coming into the polls, where is your allegiance? I mean, can we call you and tell you this is going on? Or, you know, how do you see this?
So I don't mind taking that one. I also am surely stark supporter of voting rights and have proven that from the machete incident. You remember the machete incident here at this location? And I was the first one to call a press conference and the first one to make an example of that kid, because he needed to be an example of that kid he made, who showed up to a polling location with a bunch of yard instruments and a machete waving around. So I will answer your questions quite simply. My allegiance is to the United States citizen and or anyone who is on our territory or jurisdiction in the Constitution of the United States. To talk real quick on the ICE topic, again, to reiterate, it's a nuance of how you're actually serving ICE warrants. And I say that to say this. We're in the county of Duval, obviously. If one of the beach's officers, any of us, arrests someone who's got an ICE warrant, what was previously happening, at least for my agency, was that our officers would drive them to the jail, drop them at the back door, and then the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office was dual certified to take credit for the ICE arrest. They were not just dropping the ball if it was a beaches officer. The nuance there is who's responsible for it, and that's what we've shifted. We've shifted it from the guy working the back door as a jailer to our officer. And the reason that's important, I think, two reasons. Philosophically, it's important because you have to believe in one way or the other on this topic. And I'm not saying you have to believe in politics of immigration. I'm saying you have to believe in the rule of law. And then the other optic is who's going to take credit, if you will, for the arrest. And credit means dollar signs when it comes to reimbursement. Are we just going to continue to let the city of Jacksonville vaporize money from our pockets, or are we going to act as our own best interest to make sure if any dollars are getting shared by the federal government, they're getting shared specifically here in Neptune Beach or Jacksonville, in the beaches, as opposed to just Jacksonville at large. Hopefully that answers your question.
I hope so. So you would protect the citizen that's coming to vote?
I would enforce the rule of law, and the rule of law does not differentiate if you are a victim of a crime, whether you are an illegal alien or whether you are a United States citizen. If you are a victim of a crime, you are a victim of a crime still.
Okay, but if they're being intimidated when they're trying to come vote, is that's not a crime?
I don't want to dominate the conversation about polling rules, but there's a significant amount of law that pertains to law enforcement presence at polling locations. There's very, very specifics on that, and I'd be happy to, any of us probably would be happy to talk offline about the nuances of that. But again, not answer your question, but to try as directly as I can. If you are a citizen or a non-citizen, just as if you were to travel abroad, and you were a victim of a crime, regardless of your citizenship, you're still a victim of crime. With that same sense, if you are a perpetrator of a crime, regardless of citizenship, you should be held to the rule of law as well.
Question. Yes.
Hi, thanks for all you do. I have a question for each of you. What is your top concern right now, and what are you worried about one thing in the future or on the horizon?
My top concern for my department is maintaining our current staffing, ensuring that those that we have invested massive amounts of time, which equals money, and personnel hours into stay with our agency, and filling any vacancies that we may have. That is my top priority, is my people. Because if I put my people first, they then can put you first.
I think I covered generically in my presentation. Amendment 3 is my number one priority for next year. We don't know how that property tax amendment is going to affect smaller municipalities, in particular my agency. When Governor DeSantis initially structured that bill was protection for law enforcement and first responders, it didn't make it through that way. So all the small municipalities around the state are going to have to figure out that funding question for next year. And the most important thing for me within the agency is succession planning. I want to make sure that we have that next generation coming up. Obviously, and being able to backfill and hire those positions as we promote people and people retire is going to be largely connected to funding. So where is the funding coming from?
My concern is what it's always been. 10 years from now, I don't want to turn around and say, remember the good old days of Jacksonville Beach. We only had 8 takeovers a year and a couple of homicides. I don't want this to turn into Miami Beach, Pompano Beach, Fort Lauderdale Beach. And that's what we're always in danger of here, all 3 beaches for the last 30 years I've been here. The stuff coming across that bridge, all the bridges, it's our job to hold the line. That's what I'm worried about, that these will be the good old days when we only have a few shootings and a few homicides. I don't want to look back and say these were the good old days. I want to continue to keep this community safe, and the things and the people and the criminals coming across that bridge. It's our responsibility to stop them. And that's what my concern is for this community, for all the beaches. That we're still able to do that with staffing for the 3 of us, equipment, and the attitude that each and every one of you have is that we're not going to take that crap out of here, and support all 3 beach police chiefs.
One more.
Thank you for being here. Thanks for the forum and the opportunity to ask questions like this. I've noticed block cameras, new AI cameras, collecting data around town. I'm curious about who owns that data, who we're sharing it with, and how long that contract is for, and if there's going to be an opportunity for citizens to speak up about data collection without consent.
I think we'll answer up. We own the data. We share that by contract with only other law enforcement agencies. I'll tell you that in the past 30 days, we've recovered 2 missing individuals who were mentally ill. They were special needs. We recovered 1 in North Carolina, a gentleman who left his home here in Atlantic Beach, driving to see relatives, became disoriented along the way. Our officers in Atlantic Beach at 11 o'clock at night used the flock system to track his car and track the car's movements through multiple states. We were able to call the South Carolina or North Carolina Highway Patrol, and they were actually able to track him as he was passing the flock cameras and got him stopped to reunite him back to his family again. About 2 weeks after that, we had a young lady who was probably in her early 20s, had a mentality of about a 10-year-old, left home, our officers tracked her movements on the ground. We wound up finding out that she hooked up with a guy in a bar, tracked his movements with his car through our flock cameras on Mayport Road back to where he turned off, got him in an apartment complex and found her in his apartment complex before anything bad happened, and returned her back to her family. So flock's one of those really emotional things. I get it. No one likes to be Big Brother. At some point in time, you have to trust us a little bit. We will tell you that we'll use that data for the correct reasons. We own the data. We don't share it with any non-law enforcement entity. And we have done good things with flock so far, beyond those 2 instances, for the chiefs to share their experience too.
We solved countless crimes out here with the flock cameras. One thing you have to know, we were probably the last jurisdiction in Florida to get the flock cameras. I'm not concerned about it because it simply tracks your tag. Who here has one of these? Raise it, please. Okay. Okay, you're talking about more than your license plate tag. We joke about if I Google retirement and retirement boats on this, it'll show up on my Facebook feed, my Instagram feed. I'll get flyers in the mail. I'll get phone calls, spam on my emails. And we laugh about that. That is scary, what these things are doing. This is what you need to worry about. The flock cameras are just gathering information on tags. This tracks everywhere you go, goes on or off. I got subpoenas approved and homicide investigation. Okay, you can do a lot of technology stuff with this that I really can't talk about right now. And this is with us all day, every day. All day, every day, even in the bathroom. So, if you really want to worry about the surveillance, I worry about that too. Okay, some of the abuses by the federal government are well documented. Not local law enforcement. Okay, we're not using it for nefarious means. Sometimes we make mistakes with that data, but we're not selling data. These people are selling data. Every time you log on your smartphone, they're selling data. Okay, so for me, the benefits of a flock camera far outweigh the negatives. Okay, because if you really want to get down to it, this is the downfall of modern society right here. Everything you do, everywhere you go, every phone call you make is tracked. They're not building data centers all throughout the country to store flock license plate. I'm telling you. Okay, so I am afraid of that Big Brother thing too. Guys, we're 20 years too late for that. I'm just giving you the truth. I'm just giving you straight up. All this stuff that's happening in Iran and Venezuela and with the Israelis and overseas with the war they're fighting against Hamas, all that was done with technology that's out there. It's very common for a lot of governments around the world to have it. This is what you should worry about, not the flock cameras. Just my opinion, and mine counts because I only got 5 months left and I can say it.
Thank you all.
Yeah, just 2 comments on that real quick. All 3 of the beaches use LPRs. Every single location you go, you cannot travel this country and not see LPRs. Once you see them, you start seeing them everywhere. Go to a Lowe's, Go to an apartment complex, they're everywhere. One statement on that. The LPR ability to help solve crime and recover missing people and help public safety is equivalent to the advancement of DNA in the 80s. That's how powerful and how helpful license plate readers are to law enforcement. That's number one. Identify how powerful they are, which sounds like you definitely know they're powerful. Number two, massive amounts of oversight, auditing, and professionalism surrounding it. There are officers all over this country getting arrested for misuse. We have proven at this area in Jacksonville, specifically Neptune Beach, that if you commit a crime, we will arrest you. We arrested one of our police officers years and years ago for committing a crime. If one of my police officers misuses FLOG, they will be held to the strictest accountability standards that they are held to. And the reason for that is because it is powerful, because it does log tags, right? But the ability to solve crimes. The guy who shot the President of the United States in Palm Beach was caught going northbound on 95 in Martin County, I believe, with a tag reader. That's how powerful these things are. They are the new DNA equivalent to public safety. And I firmly believe that too. They have to be, as Chief Smith said, strictly managed and made sure they're not misused. And that's the part, as Chief Gualillo said, you got to trust us a little bit to manage our folks and to trust your executives that if somebody messes up, they'll hold them to accountability standards.
Thank you so much, but I want to give Chief Smith, on the best kept secret that he's going to retire, some time to just stand up and tell us what you're going to do and what you think of us, because we think very highly of you.
I wasn't prepared for this. So, 2 grandchildren. I just, one little demon of mine just had a girl. The one just had a boy. We got 20 acres out in Lake City, Columbia County, not too far away. It's been cleared. And hopefully, they're pouring concrete tomorrow because I'm currently homeless. My wife and I. We've been living in Airbnbs. We sold our house out here. You know, my wife doesn't have to share me anymore. My family doesn't have to share me. You know, one thing about my style of leadership is probably not the best, but I'm all in. You know, that's the only way I know how to lead is all in, and it's sometimes to my detriment. And I wish I could separate it. I just can't. But when I'm all in, it takes a physical and mental toll. And, you know, I want to be around for another 30 years for my kids and my grandkids. It's time. I got great staff. I feel like I'm going out. I've won the Super Bowl instead of a 1-16 Jaguars team. I brought out the trophy. I leave you behind with the best staff in the country. I feel like the best city manager, the best elected officials in the country. Damn sure have the best citizens in the country. And I was the most fortunate chief in the country for the 8 years that I was chief. And thank you for giving me a chance. Thank you for believing in me. But I'm not dead. I'll be around for quite a few months, and I'm going to keep coming back for all the big events. We're keeping our, at the department's retirements. And until I don't know anybody anymore, then I'll stop coming back. We're keeping our banks, our dentists, our doctors, everything here, because I got one bratty grandchild right here in Neptune, the other one out in Lake City. So I'll be around. I'm going to throw beer bottles at the commander next year. But thank y'all. I mean, y'all have been fantastic. It's bittersweet. I go away the happy warrior, fulfilled but sad, bittersweet, happy, and just blessed. I would never change a thing, and this is beyond any dream I ever imagined when I got in this profession 32 or 33 years ago. I just wanted to be a good cop, maybe get on a SWAT team, which I did, but I went so much further than I ever imagined. Y'all helped me facilitate that dream, and my staff did. I got the best staff in the country, and my 2 friends here. So it's not goodbye till we see each other next time.
Thank you. thank you all for coming, and we'll see you next month. Thank you.